Being with him for so many years, it's amazing to see a kid from a man to a grown man.
As they were going to announce this fight initially, DV allegations dropped. Tank was arrested, and it was once again put in doubt.
Before the fight was canceled on Monday after a civil lawsuit filed by ex-girlfriend Courtney Rozelle accused Davis of battery and aggravated battery.
Calvin Ford breaks down in tears during a live session after learning about Gervonta Davis's arrest. He remembers their rise together from the rough streets to championship success and speaks with a trembling voice about watching Tank grow into a determined fighter. The moment hits him hard as he admits the painful reality that their journey feels shattered, leaving him questioning how everything they built has reached a heartbreaking point.
And it's crazy. That's why I said this, you can't write this, man. You cannot write this. My experience being gone, all the stuff that I went through, preparing me for where I'm at, you know, that Tank is over. He had the lessons, getting his lessons of what he got to do, take us the rest of the way. This is his take us the rest of the way.
Gervonta Davis has faced multiple controversies that continue to follow him throughout his career. The mother of his children accused him earlier this year, but the case ultimately ended in dismissal. Shortly afterward, another woman filed a separate lawsuit, pushing him deeper into public scrutiny. These back-to-back legal issues have heavily impacted his image, making headlines that extend far beyond the boxing ring. Observers point out that for high-profile athletes, personal challenges rarely stay private. Success, championships, and fame cannot shield anyone from criticism when legal troubles arise. Media attention quickly shifts from victories to controversies, affecting reputation and future opportunities. Fans and analysts now judge fighters based on both their skill and personal behavior, examining every action closely. For Davis, this situation highlights a harsh reality. Achievements alone cannot protect an athlete from the consequences of public exposure, and maintaining integrity inside and outside the ring is a constant battle.
The match never happened. The Paul camp still thought Tank is a big enough name, regardless of his previous result, to go ahead with this bout. But just as they were going to announce this fight initially, DV allegations dropped. Tank was arrested, and it was once again put in doubt. Then the charges were dropped. A week later, they announced the event. So that kind of brings us to today. This event hasn't been smooth sailing so far, and it was almost destined that there would end up being a few more bumps in the road before we actually saw the two facing off. And about as big of a bump as you could really get has now hit the promotion. A civil suit has been filed against Tank, in which his ex-girlfriend accuses him of aggravated battery, false imprisonment, kidnapping, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. While it was also reported by ESPN that a report has been filed additionally with the Miami Gardens Police Department last Tuesday. However, as I'm recording this, there's yet to be any criminal charges. Now, these alleged incidents happened last month, which was after the announcement of the fight. You would think if you're Tank on the verge of the biggest payday he's ever gotten, he would be doing anything to stay out of trouble, yet he continues to find himself in negative situations again and again. But in saying all of this, everything at the moment is very much alleged, and I'm not really here to talk about the validity of these claims. What I am here to talk about, though, is the impact this might have on the boxing event in a couple weeks' time. Now, Tank vs. Paul, love or hate the idea of it, was definitely one of the most viewed fights of the year. Although there are rumors of there being poor ticket sales, the at-home audience.
Roy Jones Jr. stated that Gervonta Davis has been dealing with personal challenges for a long time, and this new lawsuit only adds more pressure to an already heavy load. He noted that the timing, coming just as the Jake Paul fight was approaching, has created an extremely stressful moment for the young star. Jones mentioned that many in the boxing world were aware of Davis's past issues, so the situation isn't shocking but still significant. With the fight cancelled, Davis now faces growing scrutiny and the disappointment of losing a major opportunity.
Paul didn't work out. Just what were your thoughts on that whole thing?
Man, I really don't want to even have much to say about that because everybody take it the bad way. But all I'm gonna say is this: Jake Paul knew what it was when he first signed the fight. This ain't the first time he had battery against a woman. You knew what it was when you first signed the fight. So don't get mad and cuss him out and talk bad about him now. You know what it was when you signed up for it. Come on, bro. You know what I'm saying? Let's not do that. Nobody talk. I don't talk bad about him either, but don't do the dude like that. No, the dude having a hard time in his life right now. Don't just do him like that. You know what I mean? Because you knew exactly what he was when you signed him to fight the first time. All I gotta say.
Tank's team has kind of been bringing that, like, talking about just some of Jake's past, and more kind of said that Jake said he's actually afraid to fight Tank. I mean, do you think it leaned a little more on that side, and they're just selling it the other way?
I already know what it is. Like I said, I already know. I'll get into it, but we all know when young guys go through issues.
Jake Paul offered his own perspective on the situation involving Gervonta Davis, claiming that Davis was completely sober and fully aware of his actions during the incident. According to Paul, there was no attempt by Davis to escape responsibility by blaming intoxication or confusion. His comments present a version of events that portrays Davis as accountable while also suggesting the fighter is dealing with significant pressure behind the scenes. By speaking publicly, Paul provides fans with what he believes is an inside look at Davis's mindset during the controversy. However, it's important to note that Paul's statements are personal observations, not verified legal facts. While his remarks may spark further speculation, they highlight how quickly opinions spread around high-profile athletes. In professional boxing, every moment can be analyzed and magnified, which makes personal issues even harder to manage. Ultimately, Paul's comments reflect the ongoing tension between a fighter's private struggles and the public image they're forced to uphold.
Was on Aiden Ross, and he shared a story about Jake Paul, about Gervonta, and he said, look, Aiden, it was 4:15 in the morning. It was 4 o'clock in the morning. Gervonta Davis was sober. He got sober into a car and drove out there at that hour to do this. This guy is extra bad. Let me repeat that. Let me repeat that. Jake Paul said that Gervonta Davis left his house sober and went to Tootsie's nightclub sober. I just want you to put your common sense hat on. How in the world would he know that? Does Jake Paul talk to Gervonta Davis? Did Gervonta Davis tell Jake Paul, I was sober when I left the house? Did Jake Paul have a camera in Gervonta Davis's car? Did he have a breathalyzer in Gervonta Davis's car? Did Jake Paul get toxicology reports from 3 days ago from Gervonta Davis? I am just curious as to how in the world Jake could possibly know that Gervonta Davis was sober. Let me tell you for sure, I will have a drink now and then. If I take a couple shots of vodka and I walk out the house, I'm a little buzzed. Sometimes my wife doesn't even know. How do you know, Jake? The answer is you do not. You are just trying to add something to the story to make Gervonta look worse. It wasn't enough that Gervonta Davis was...
Stay tuned for more updates. Until next time, all from Punch Perfectionist.